In the mid-Atlantic, 2,300 nautical miles from land, a floating cathedral of steel hunts above a cemetery 3 miles deep. Dr. Sarah Chen watches final preparations. The machinery of deep-sea salvage hums a mechanical symphony around her. Their target waits in the abyss. Today, they will tear a secret free from the crushing depths.
The crew nicknamed it the Timekeeper's Grave, a floating vault that had become a sunken tomb.
They prepare a titanium framework designed to cradle the container. The lift will be a slow, 8-hour agony from the abyss.
The horizon lightens. They have a 24-hour window of stable weather.
Everything must be perfect.
An East Asian man named Webb, in his 40s, sealed himself inside. The sphere vanished into the...
Inside the sphere, Webb felt the familial sensation of descent. The surface light faded, then vanished entirely.
Deeper still, life became sparse.
He navigated by instruments through a darkness so complete it felt like a physical presence.
Then, at the edge of his light, the target. A 40-foot shipping container, sitting upright like a monument to misfortune. 7 years in the abyss had made it a reef. A crust of life covered the steel, but its structure appeared intact. The critical question remained: had the seals held? If seawater had penetrated, the recovery would yield only ruined metal.
Webb's task was retrieval, not appraisal. She activated the beacon, signaling the surface to begin.
Above, the Caucasian crew deployed the lifting framework. Its journey to the bottom would take nearly 2 hours.
Time dilated at depth. Webb waited, focused and methodical, compensating for the slow, ancient current.
The abyss was not lifeless. Creatures, adapted to this realm, investigated the intruder with alien curiosity.
At 500 meters out, he rose to guide the assembly. Precision now was everything. Haste was death. The framework had to be perfectly square. Any asymmetry could cause a catastrophic failure during the lift. The attachment phase began. Explosive cartridges drove anchors through the corroded roof into the structural frame beneath.
Each bolt had to penetrate just enough to grip, but not so far as to damage what might lie within.
For 3 hours, every movement was deliberate, every adjustment verified and re-verified.
On the surface, the winch engaged. It took up slack with microscopic precision. The tension began to climb.
8 tons of tension. The sediment held it like a suction cup. For long seconds, nothing happened.
Then, with a cloud of ancient ooze, the Timekeeper's Grave broke free from its resting place. It began its ascent. A journey of 8 hours from the abyss to the world above.
Webb rose alongside it for a time, documenting the lift.
The transition was imperceptible, then sudden. The faint blue glow meant the surface was no longer impossibly distant. He broke into a world of color and warmth. The ship waited, a fortress of steel against the vast ocean.
The winch maintained its steady rhythm for 8 hours. Every fathom was monitored, every fluctuation in stress analyzed.
At 200 meters, it entered the sunlit zone. A dark shadow, rising from a world of night.
8 hours and 17 minutes after it began, the timekeeper's grave returned to the light.
The ocean boiled around it. Recovery bags were attached, easing the strain as it was brought to the ship.
It swung inboard, a captured Leviathan. Chains and binders secured it before the crane disengaged.
For 3 hours, they cleaned. Streams of water blasted away 7 years of accumulation from the deep.
The locking mechanisms, designed for human hands, responded slowly to patient work. 40 minutes passed.
The final lock released. The doors remained sealed shut, a last barrier between the past and the present.
With a sound like tearing fabric, the seal gave way. The door swung open, revealing only darkness.
The air that escaped smelled of metal and stale time. Inside, row after row of wooden...
The first crate was opened on a prepared bench. Inside, protected by foam and plastic, were the green boxes.
The first watch was revealed. It gleamed as if it had left the factory that very morning.
They worked through the night. Random samples were opened, inspected, verified. The quality held. Every piece was perfect. By dawn, the container was empty. Its contents, a fortune written off as lost, lay arrayed under the tropical sun.
Chen held one. A piece of human ingenuity that had survived an ordeal it was never designed to face.
The ship turned for home, for the world where time is measured.
The core narrative, translated into 6-3 distinct scenes, maintaining visual continuity with bracketed descriptors.
The real work of cataloging began. Each of the 5,743 timepieces required individual documentation. Security protocols were activated. The fortune on deck was now a floating vault, requiring a new kind of protection.
The container itself was now just a shell. Its purpose fulfilled, it sat.
The promise sailed for port. Their contract was fulfilled, but the responsibility of their cargo weighed heavily.
For 2 days, they sailed. The ocean that had guarded its secret now carried them home, indifferent to their precious cargo.
Official notifications were sent. The underwriters and collectors who had waited 7 years would soon receive the news.
The memory of the lift, of that moment of breaking free, would stay with each of them. A moment of pure tension. On the third morning, the first outside observer arrived. The world was coming to meet them. Representatives from the insurance consortium and the lead collector. Their faces were a mix of professional reserve and naked anticipation.
Incredible.
Their verification was complete. The Promise would now complete the journey, delivering the cargo to a secured port facility.
It was a tradition. A small thanks to the ocean for its cooperation, and a memorial for the depth of their endeavor. On the 5th day, land appeared. The familiar world, with its solid ground and measured time, welcomed them back. They did not dock at a commercial port. This was a discreet, high-security facility designed for transfers of extraordinary value. The handover was swift and clinical. The watches passed from the realm of ocean salvage to that of global logistics.
Chen signed the final manifest. The timekeeper's grave was officially closed, its contents accounted for and transferred.
The trucks vanished into the night. On the deck, there was only the empty container and a crew left with their memories.
The team dispersed as quietly as it had assembled. They were specialists who would scatter to the winds until the next call. Some partnerships exist only for the duration of the dive. They parted with the understanding that their work was the bond.
In a climate-controlled facility, the watches were awakened. Their mechanisms, dormant for years, were gently brought back to life.
Each one was tested, and each one, against all odds, kept perfect time.
And so, a watch that had rested in absolute darkness found itself in a display of light, marking the hours of a life untouched by the deep. The sight of the timekeeper's grave returned to anonymity. The ocean floor slowly began to erase the last traces of its visitor. For Chen, there were always more depths to search, more secrets in the vast, dark water.
News of the recovery made discreet waves. The specifics were guarded, but the legend of the lost watches found began to circulate.
For the underwriters, it was a historic reclamation. A loss written off had been physically pulled back from the void.
Was just another casualty, a rogue wave.
The complete technical record was sealed in an archive, a blueprint for the impossible, available only to those who dare to attempt it again.
The mission provided data, stress points, real-world tests. It was fuel for the next generation of technology to go deeper, safer.
And the watches themselves? They became legends, their value amplified not just by their make, but by their unimaginable provenance.
The scale never changed. The ocean's volume dwarfed all human endeavor. This was the deep clings to what it gives up. Even in a living room, the ocean remembers.
The container's final journey was to the scrapyard. Its steel would be melted, reformed, its identity.
For some, the value was in the possession, not the wearing. A secret treasure with a secret history, locked away from the world.
The tools of the Abyss served many masters. Recovery, research, exploration, all
Its path was a stark, simple line through a three-dimensional wilderness. A drop, a wait, and a return.
And so they rejoined the flow of time, marking meetings, deadlines, moments of joy and sorrow. They exist in both worlds now, in memory of the deep and in the relentless, ticking present.
For pilots like Webb, the machine is an extension of the self. Its care is a ritual, a preparation for the next conversation with the deep.
For every success, there are 100 losses. Ships, cargo, lives.
Some stories are too valuable not to be told. A select few pieces were presented not just as watches, but as artifacts of human triumph.
Its price was no longer for the mechanism alone, but for the narrative sealed within its steel case.
The cycle continues. New coordinates, new depths, new targets hidden in the dark. The promise of the unknown is the only constant.
In memory, it always begins with a sound.
The ship was reborn for the next mission. Her decks would hold different equipment, a different crew, a different purpose.
Chen channeled the experience into teaching. The next generation needed to understand the marriage of audacity and meticulous calculation.
Luck is the moment preparation meets opportunity on a map 3 miles deep.
The feeling never quite leaves. A part of you remains at depth, in the silence and the pressure.
Its descent was a slow-motion funeral. A journey from the chaotic surface to the... And there it rested. A strange, angular monument in a world of soft curves and sediment.
The chain of custody was complete. From manifest to loss to recovery to inventory, the circle was formally closed.
In the flow of commerce, the artifact becomes instrument. Its past is a curiosity, secondary to its function in the present.
Those who understood the craft saw the true miracle. Not the value, but the survival of such delicate harmony under such force.
The story becomes inspiration, a tale of technology and tenacity that fuels the imagination of the next explorers.
Each mission refined the art. The next ship would be better, smarter, more capable of wresting secrets from the deep. And time, the very thing they recovered, flowed on without pause or sentiment, the universe's only true constant.
Artifacts find new contexts. They become paperweights, conversation pieces, silent reminders of other realms.
The story entered the culture, diluted and repackaged. For most, it was just another curious fact in a world full of noise.
Vessel, RV Leviathan's Promise. Target, container TCLU 3047.
The ocean keeps its remaining secrets.
The narrative was polished for consumption. Adventure commodified, the crushing pressure exchanged for poolside glamour.
The tools of recovery became artifacts themselves. The real story was in the means, not just the end.
For a few, the magnitude resonated. The engineering, the audacity, the true treasure was the act of retrieval. The ship's life continued. Her purpose was not one story, but many. A platform for humanity's endless interrogation of the sea. For professionals like Webb, the location changed, the target changed, but the essential relationship with the deep remained. In the digital realm, the watches attained a new life, cryptographic tokens of authenticity, their history locked in a blockchain ledger.
The provenance was unassailable. For once, the market's most faked item had a batch that was utterly, verifiably real.
Their journeys ended in silence and security, delivered to vaults, to wrists, to become heirlooms with a prehistory.
I dream about the cable. I hear it singing in the dark.
Not all souvenirs were physical.
She sought stillness on the surface, a temporary truce with the element that dominated her professional life.
This was the true substance of the grave. Not steel, but time itself.
We look down into the deep and see a reflection of the heavens. Both are frontiers of absolute darkness and profound mystery. The deep does not commemorate, it incorporates. The anomaly becomes part of the landscape, then food, then nothing.
All great endeavors end with simple words in a logbook. The drama compressed into terse, professional notation.
The final act was a return to order. A heartbeat synced to the world's agreed-upon rhythm of seconds.
Miracles of recovery happen in quiet rooms. The grand saga ends with a gentle whisper of gears meshing perfectly.
Yes. In the end, they reflected each other. The machine that dove and the machine that was brought back. Both.
The sea lanes never empty. For every container recovered, 1 million more cross the surface. Inspiration is the most valuable salvage. A single story can seed the next generation of solvers for the ocean's riddles.
The skills are transferable. The eyes that learned to see in the abyss are now hired to assess its mineral wealth.
The official record held the facts, but the personal albums held the truth. The camaraderie forged.
She paid respects to those who came before, the ones who pioneered the techniques, who dreamed of recoveries like this.
The objects became vessels for family lore, a story of resilience passed down with the ticking of a mechanical heart. A new anomaly, a new set of coordinates. The pull was irresistible. The map was never empty for those who knew how to look.
Certain partnerships are dormant, not dead. They wait for the next call into the unknown.